Welcome to Dom's Corner, everybody, where we talk about all things dealing in the world of entertainment and also a little bit of life, too. My name is Dom Martino, of course. Be sure to hit the like button below and the subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications. I greatly appreciate that. And please leave some feedback in the comments section because that's also appreciated as well. And I'll also be leaving my Twitter and Instagram in the description below, so be sure to follow me there. So let's just get into some stuff here. So recently I watched Hamilton, and I gotta say, guys, this is one of the greatest flicks that I've seen in a very, very long time. Um, and sadly, the Academy is not going to consider this as a film, and I don't know how to feel about that personally because I think that this is up there with the likes of things like Jaws and Alien and all sorts of different things. Um, this musical was very, very phenomenal, and it's more than just a musical. It's like a cultural phenomenon. Um, it's available on Disney Plus. I do recommend everybody check it out. Lin Manuel Miranda does a fantastic job in this. He also wrote the musical himself, and I just think he was tremendous as the main character is Alexander Hamilton. Uh, Leslie Odom Jr. is just becoming one of my favorite people in the entire world, along with Lin Manuel Miranda. But with Leslie Odom Jr., he's just like he's gonna be a star, man. I'm telling you, this guy's voice when he sings, it's incredible. Uh, I would say that like the beginning part, it definitely like gives you like a lot of information to take in, but I don't think it's a bad thing because it definitely helps to develop the characters inside of it. And once the story comes to a head, you're just like, oh wow, I'm glad that all that information was there. I really do think it might be the greatest thing in a long time that I've seen personally, and I highly recommend everybody checking this out. The music is amazing. Philippa Sue is another actress in this that just really kills it. And again, this thing throughout its entirety is just flawless. Daveed Diggs is another guy that I got to bring up here because he plays a couple different roles in this, and just does a tremendous job. And I'm so glad that I got around to watching this. It is 3 hours long, which I know that's could be daunting to some people, but trust me, it keeps your attention every minute. And the music is so engrossing. And once you hit that intermission, you're just going to be like, I can't stop now, because there is an intermission. So to move on, let's move on to the news though of the well, actually before we do that, let me also say that the way that the thing is directed, it is like you're getting the best seat in the house. Uh and also I just really love the lighting, the light show, the stage, the way that the stage moves. They really know how to utilize that stage, and I also cannot leave out here before we end this review. Jonathan Groff, who's also getting really big in the show Mindhunter. I know he was in Glee for a little bit as well. Um, yeah, he is also a really big standout in this, and he plays King George III, and he's hysterical. And there's a lot more funny moments in this than I thought there would be, and I'm really glad I checked it out. If you guys need something just to escape from the real world, even though it has a lot of themes that are still relevant today. I definitely recommend checking out Hamilton. It's fantastic. It's on Disney Plus. It's a good 3 hours for you to just lose your mind and enjoy some really good music and a really great story. And you really don't understand. You can listen to the soundtrack all you want, but you really don't understand how impressive it is how impressive it is what these guys do until you see it on the screen, and it's incredible, and I can't commend it enough. I know a lot of people have been asking me if I got around to watching this, and of course the answer is yes, I did, and it's flawless. I would give this. I don't really do the grade thing anymore, but I would honestly give this a plus. It is just that phenomenal and amazing. Um, so yeah, off the top, I just wanted to mention that and give that a little review, and to tell you guys to I'll check it out. But speaking of Hamilton, like I was saying, that the Academy is not going to consider this to be a feature film, and on one end, I'm kind of torn about this, um, because I mean, it really should be. Um, Considered to be, because like I said, it is up there with the likes of things like Jaws and Alien and Empire Strikes Back and some of the greatest films of all time. And I think that if it was going to be considered by the Academy, that I think that this would easily win Best Picture, because it is the greatest thing that I think has come out in years in terms of entertainment. On the other hand, it's won so many Tonys, and all sorts of stuff. And I'm trying to get the article up right now. And yes, I figured out how to use the internet again while doing these podcasts. So while I'm trying to get the article up, here, let me see. Hamilton not being considered by the Academy. So give me 1 second to pull this up. Um, and yeah, again, like it's won so many awards on its own. And that's great. Um, but this is still, I understand it's probably more of a stage production than it is a film, but it's still a film. It's still something somebody had to throw together and edit and film, right? So and it's still something that somebody directed. Let's take a look at this article here, and we'll see what this has to say. So it says the Academy says that the Hamilton movie won't be eligible at next year's Oscars. Could a filmed stage play years removed from Broadway start to stream the weekend of Independence Day, take advantage of a movie calendar in disarray, and find itself a surprise Oscar player anyway? With the Academy changing its rules to allow streaming only projects to compete at next year's Oscars, a fascinating question has been emerged. Does the Hamilton movie, the filmed version of a 2016 Broadway performance currently streaming on Disney Plus, now have a shot at Oscar glory? At first glance, the wording seems wide enough for the musical to sneak in. The Academy's rule change was intended to protect films that had previously scheduled theatrical releases that were disrupted by the coronavirus. And, wouldn't you know it, this version of Hamilton was originally supposed to hit theaters in October 2021 before Disney and Lin-Manuel Miranda decided to debut it early as a 4th of July present for viewers stuck in quarantine, which is amazing. And because with live theater across the world shut down, there was no longer any risk of cannibalizing Broadway's revenue. Could that be enough? Okay, so I'm starting to listen to the reasoning here, and that makes a little more sense to me. Uh, I get that. I get that entirely, because the rule was put in place for things that were going to be in the theater. However, um, you look at the Academy Awards like last year, and you think to yourself, um, there were so many movies that were snubbed, and some of those were straight to streaming movies. And with so many movies coming out, and a lot of those being straight to streaming films, you would think that the Academy would need to get more progressive. And I understand that the rule was placed for particular reasoning. And so, in that case, um, I'm personally just kind of thinking you should just get Hamilton a theatrical release, right? Or who's to say that they wouldn't have given it one had the theaters still been open, right? Maybe you could put Hamilton in drive-ins to qualify. Um, I would love to see this on a big screen. Um, and I bet you they could have done that had there not been the pandemic. So that's not fair either when I think about it that way. So those are kind of my thoughts on it. I think that it definitely deserves to be nominated. Uh, but however, you could make the argument that it's a stage play, not a movie, and that's already kind of won its awards. Maybe not an Oscars, maybe not Oscars, but um, I don't know. It's an older play, right? It's been around for a while. The soundtrack has kind of been out there for a while. So I guess I'm I'm in the middle, but I'm kind of leaning toward thinking it should be considered by the Academy because it's still not fair given their reasoning because they didn't even have a shot to, maybe throw this in theaters for a little bit just to qualify. And I bet you it would have swept up all the awards too, had it been considered by the Academy. So I don't know. I'm just kind of torn on that a little bit. But also I'm kind of leaning toward the side that I think it really should be considered by the Academy. That's where I'm at with that. I do want to move on. There were a couple of unfortunate things that we do have to talk about. I'm not going to pull up the articles because I don't want to spend way too much time on these topics. So, um, yeah, okay. So here's the thing. This first story, I'm going to talk about it. Nobody else seems to be. And I don't know why. I mean, it's on the news, don't get me wrong, but there's like a lot of like entertainment podcasts that are refusing to talk about this, and I don't know why. And that's on them if they want to, if whatever they want to talk about, they could talk about it. I respect that 100%. It's the whole reason I wanted to do Dom's Corner is so I could talk about things that I want to talk about, and I don't really want to do the reviews the way I used to anymore because of that reason. So I respect that 110%. For me, it's just a matter of I just don't understand why you acknowledge certain deaths that have happened and not this in particular one. So the one that I'm talking about in particular is this Naya Rivera situation, which a lot more details have emerged about this. And so she was an actress on Glee, and she was incredibly talented, and she had a 4-year-old son, and her and that 4-year-old son went out boating. And sounds like there was an accident due to currents and things like that. And sounds like that her actions were very heroic. She did drown and die in this accident, and that's very sad. I'm just going to at least pull up photos here for you guys to see, so you know who I'm talking about. And yeah, so yeah, this is a very sad story. It sounds like her actions were heroic in the situation. She saved her 4-year-old son, and yeah, just a sad situation all around, guys. And yeah, as you can see back in this photo, they have not the entire cast, but a lot of the cast came together to hold hands by the lake where she drowned. Just very sad stuff, but just wanted to kind of memorialize that a little bit here, because it should be. It's a very heroic story on her part, and she did a great job saving her 4-year-old son and gave her life for that 4-year-old son. And now there's unfortunately, a 4-year-old son without a mother. And It's sad stuff, but her actions were heroic, and she is somebody in the entertainment industry that will be missed. So I just wanted to bring that up and kind of give some preface to that. Sorry. So hate to bring it down, and then the other very sad news is, of course, Kelly Preston did die. And she had breast cancer, it sounds like, and did not want to tell the family. So this is why we didn't really know about her kind of fight with breast cancer. But Kelly Preston just had an incredible resume, if you ask me. She just really, I mean, she. Uh, everything from one of my personal favorites is Space Camp. You could think of the Jack Frost movie that she did with Michael Keaton, and this is all just very very sad stuff. You hate to bring up these deaths, but you want to memorialize these people too. And I think a lot of us are going to think of things like Jerry Maguire and all sorts of things like that. So I mean, we all probably have a uh some kind of relationship to Kelly Preston. I know she's married to John Travolta for a very long time, one of the few celebrity marriages that actually last in this industry. And yeah, just very very sad, guys. um and yeah, I loved Kelly Preston as an actress. Sky High is another great example of a Kelly Preston movie that's more for nerd culture. So I just wanted to bring those up because these were very talented people that had passed, and we're very sorry for their loss. And also one more quick one, unfortunately, is a Grant from Mythbusters, who passed at 49 years old. I love the Mythbusters, so um, knowing that he had passed really made me sad. Um, and now, one of the cooler things for people in nerd culture that they may not have known about this guy is um, he worked for ILM and Lucasfilm, and which is just really incredible when you start to think about it. And I'll never forget watching him on MythBusters, and he was a real incredible asset to that show. And man, he's he really was one of my favorite guys on there. Very knowledgeable about technology and all sorts of things. And yeah, just what an incredible loss that we've suffered in the entertainment industry. And all these people will be very missed. So yeah. Um, so moving on to some more fun things. We could get past that, and rest in peace to all three of those folks. But moving on to some fun stuff. Excuse me. Is there's Hulu originals has not really been a thing when it comes to their films. And one of the biggest acquisitions in Sundance Film Festival history, or the biggest um, acquisition, sorry, has been this film called Palm Springs. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'll pull that up here. And it has like Andy Samberg's in it, and Christina Milioti, and a lot of people are really buzzing about this movie, and I have not had a chance to see this. I did watch the trailer, and it seems like it's just kind of a thing about a time loop. Kind of like Groundhog's Day, although I hear it's got its own thing going for it, and it's a really really fantastic movie. This is the movie I'm referring to. Palm Springs got Andy Samberg and Christina Milioti. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Um, yeah, and I've just heard nothing but phenomenal things about this film, and yeah, um, really, really, really want to check this out. I liked the last Hulu original, The Big Time Adolescence. I don't know if anybody saw that. It had Pete Davidson in it, and so yeah, it sounds like Hulu's gonna really be making some plays here to get some really fantastic movies. And I actually don't have Hulu currently, but this is something I really, really would like to check out. I'm just hearing nothing but incredible things about it, and yeah. And then the other big film on streaming that came out was The Old Guard with Charlize Theron, and I've heard incredible things about this, and I have not had a chance to check this out yet. Let's see if I can even find it. Yeah, so this is the movie The Old Guard, apparently, and I've heard nothing but incredible things. I've not yet been able to check out like an actual rating on it, but looks like user reviews are 6.7. It's got a 70 Metascore, so that's pretty good for something like a Netflix original. So yeah, probably worth checking out. I'm definitely gonna do that. Yeah, so I just wanted to bring a couple movies to your attention. I know Greyhound came out, and I've actually heard not so great things about it, unfortunately, with Tom Hanks. And I'm definitely gonna want to check that out. I know that's available on Apple TV Plus, but there's some things for you guys to watch, along with Hamilton, which I did a review of in the beginning. But that's some stuff for you guys to watch while you're in your quarantine there. So yeah. Um, let's see here. Um, so what else do we need to talk about here? Oh yes. Let me take that off the screen there. The dancing lady. Um, let me see here. So we do need to talk about this Halloween Kills trailer that debuted, which I thought was debuted. I said debuted. But that yeah. So there's a Halloween Kills teaser trailer, which confirms has now been pushed till next October. It was supposed to initially come out in the previous October, and I got a chance to check this out, and I thought it was really really great. Um, I don't know if anybody else did, and I really like because I love this last Halloween film, and I like that it wiped like everything from canon from two so forth. Um, but yeah, Halloween Kills is coming out next October. It'll be 2021, October of 2021, and I'm excited because the trailer did pretty much it showed what I was kind of hoping they would do with the next film, which was to just kind of start off where the last film left off. And it's just kind of picking up from there, and we're going to just kind of go on with the same night that we left on. And I think that's wonderful and exciting, and I can't wait to check out Halloween Kills next year. Let's get these theaters back open, guys. Be safe, be cautious, wear your masks, do everything that they're asking you to do because we want to get these theaters back open so we can see things like Halloween Kills. I know there's bigger issues at hand, but it's just one extra motivation for you guys to be safe out there. Um, and also, what else were we looking at here? We have, um, let's see, The Tax Collector is another movie trailer that came out that I checked out. Now this has Antoine, not David Ayer is going to be directing this one. This one has Shia LaBeouf and George Lopez of all people, which I found to be an interesting casting choice in this movie that looks very, very gritty and dark and serious and edgy. Let's hope it actually is. The last time I thought that about a David Ayer movie ended up not being that. I'm referring to Suicide Squad, which reports have come out that Suicide Squad wasn't entirely Ayer's fault, of course, but I'm really hoping for a better result this time around with David Ayer. I really love early David Ayer movies, End of Watch and Fury, and I feel like I'm missing one. Early David Ayer was great though, and I really want him to get back to that. I loved this trailer. I thought Shia LaBeouf looked pretty damn intimidating, and I think he's going to play a really cool role, and it's something different for him. And I think the kid's making a comeback. I shouldn't say the kid; he's older than me, but the guy is going to make a comeback. I think he's really, really a talented actor and tremendously talented actor, and I hope he picked a good script with David Ayer. And also the other thing about David Ayer is, I mentioned Suicide Squad. I thought it was messy and, it wasn't the edgy thing that I wanted to be. I didn't hate that film. I could kind of put the pieces together and see what Ayer wanted to do with it. And clearly that didn't happen. He said as much that a music video company came in and pretty much ruined his movie. Because the creative heads over at Warner Brothers were not very good or copacetic at the time. And also, the other part of that is his movie Bright on Netflix, which apparently is getting a sequel at some point. I thought Bright was messy too. I thought it was messier even than Suicide Squad. I did not like Bright one bit. So I'm really hoping he can kind of go back to his roots with Tax Collector. That's what it looks like he's going to be doing. And it was kind of like the Guy Ritchie thing, right? Like Guy Ritchie made some movies that people weren't too big on, and they just wanted him to go back to what he was best at. And he did that with The Gentleman, which even I got to admit was one of the best movies this year. Yeah, so I think David Ayer can definitely get back to what he started with and what he was best at. So let's hope for that. So there was some interesting news, and all of it pretty much mostly pertains to Star Wars here. But actually, before we get into the Star Wars stuff, let's look into this Gotham PD show. That's going to be on HBO Max. So, as we all know, the Batman's coming out, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And there's going to be a show called Gotham PD, I believe. It's going to be on HBO Max. Let's look into this. Gotta try to find the article here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This is going to be a wonderful read. I cannot wait to read this. And I'm going to have some thoughts about this here pretty soon. But anyway, so the Batman with Robert Pattinson, this is essentially supposed to be the prequel series, if you will. Let's see here. Okay. So let's see what we got. No, I don't want to subscribe to the New York Post. I just kind of want to read this story, please. And do not take me to an ad. Okay. So HBO Max has given a series commitment to a drama set in the Gotham Police Department from Matt Reeves and Terrence Winter. Variety has learned. So let me start this out by saying that Terrence Winter is amazing. He wrote the script for Wolf of Wall Street, and he's written like Sopranos, which is obviously an amazing show, and Boardwalk Empire, and so as a showrunner, I'm excited. And also as a script, somebody who just writes movie scripts, that makes me excited for that alone. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, let me get the story back up. The Untitled series will be set in the world Reeves is creating for feature film The Batman, with the intent being to launch a new Batman universe across multiple platforms. It is said to build on the film's examination of the anatomy of corruption in Gotham City. It is the first project announced under Reeves' new overall deal with the Warner Brothers television group. Okay. So we're going to stop there. Because the comments that I want to make on this is very stupid. I love Terrence Winter. I think he's a great writer. So if you look at it from that angle, it could be great. You know what? He might make something amazing. I do like the idea of an R-rated gritty cop show set in Gotham. However, we tried this once and it failed. I'm not so much concerned about how good it's going to be with Terrence Winter about it, because it might be great. So for my benefit, knowing what I know about Terrence Winter, it's going to be great for that. However, I think that this is going to get canceled after a season, because I don't think anybody's going to check this out. Not only has HBO Max had a terrible launch for themselves, and they're not doing so well with audiences in general. Not to say that they won't be great one day. They could build there, but they're not looking too good right now. So not only do you have that, you also have the problem of, we have had a Gotham show before on Fox that everybody seemed to really hate. I know that there were some people that dug it, but for the most part, people hated, and I don't think that they want to take the risk of checking out another one. And because of that, I think that this show will be canceled very, very quickly. So even if I watch it and I'm excited about it and I get into it, it's going to get canceled so quick, because nobody's going to check this out, because people are either, in my opinion, die hard with Gotham. They're like, that's kind of the end all be all of Gotham PD shows. or they hated Gotham and they don't really want another one of those. So that's kind of where I'm sitting. And then you got the real hardcore film fans like me, film and television fans that are just like, okay, I'm gonna watch this because I want to give this a shot and I'm curious. The curiosity got the better of me. However, I don't think that's going to be the case for everybody. And we all like Terrence Winter as a showrunner. However, I just still don't think it's going to be enough. And that's just my opinion on that. And speaking of TV shows, let's move into this other story about this Bad Batch series that's coming out. And I'll just, I'll just read this article and kind of give you guys my opinion on all that. Let's see what we can come up with here. Hang on one second. I am not getting the article that I wanted to pull up here. Oh, here we go. Perfect. All right. So this comes from Variety. So this is going to be pretty reliable. And so let's read into what's going to be happening with the Bad Batch. Okay, so for those of you who didn't watch Clone Wars, Bad Batch was a group of characters on Star Wars Clone Wars. So here we go. Star Wars' animated series, The Bad Batch, ordered at Disney Plus. A new animated Star Wars series is Imperial marching, its way towards the small screen. Disney Plus has issued a series order for Star Wars The Bad Batch, a spin-off of the popular Clone Wars series, Variety has confirmed. This new show, which is slated to launch on Disney Plus sometime in 2021, hails from Lucasfilm and follows the elite experimental clones of the Bad Batch, first introduced in the Clone Wars. As they find their way in a rapidly changing galaxy in the immediate aftermath of the Clone War, members of the Bad Batch, a unique squad of clones who vary genetically from their brothers in the clone army, each possess a singular exceptional skill which makes them extraordinary effective soldiers, a formidable crew. In the post-Clone War era, they will take on daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose. I got to wonder, it says this is courtesy of Lucasfilm here. Okay, this picture. I love. First of all, let me just say I love this right here. I think this is amazing. So I thought that somewhere in the article it said that Dave Filoni was going to be running this show, but I guess not. Oh, here we go. Wait. Yeah, okay. So news of the show comes just over 3 months after the Clone Wars wrapped its acclaimed 7-season run. Dave Filoni, the mastermind behind Clone Wars and one of the brains behind The Mandalorian, will executive produce Bad Batch alongside Athena Portillo, Brad Rowe, and Jennifer Corbett. Carrie Beck is on board as well as co-executive producer. Josh Rhimes is producer. Rowe will serve as supervising director with Corbett as head writer. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. So I already told you I thought of the poster. It's super badass. So Filoni is going to be behind this. Now, this kind of goes back to the Terrence Winter thing, and Terrence Winter we trust, right? And same thing here. And Dave Filoni, I trust. Dave Filoni has proven to be one of the greatest masterminds behind Star Wars television. The Clone Wars is an incredible series. It says it. It's acclaimed. I really, really love Rebels. And I have not gotten around to finishing all of Resistance, which I know he didn't have as much to do with. I guess he just kind of came up with the premise, but other people kind of ran the show. That said, I still really enjoyed what I'd seen of that animated series. So there's no doubt in my mind that this is probably gonna be pretty good. However, for the first time in a long time, this is a Star Wars premise I am not interested in. Let me tell you about the Bad Batch. I enjoyed those episodes in the Clone Wars. However, they were because there were 4 episodes based around them, and I thought they were good. Um, and as much as I pray that we get new characters, and this sounds like it's going to be new characters and new stories, and outside of everything else we know, why are we going back to this era is the bigger question. Because for me, this sounds really dumb. This era has been like told in and out, and we keep getting more content from this era. It's a great and fascinating era, especially when you dive into that 7 season Clone Wars series, and you really read the novelizations of the prequels. The Clone War era is fascinating. I don't want you to get me wrong at all, and even I know it's the aftermath of the Clone War era, but this is before the original trilogy, which I want to get away from. I want to go either before the prequel trilogy or after the original trilogy. This is kind of where I want to explore. So this premise does not. I mean, we're always going before the original trilogy and after the prequel trilogy, right? I mean, we got Rogue One and Solo and just tons of canon books in that era. Um, and Rebels, the series Rebels is after the Clone Wars, but before the originals, right? So this era has been explored so often that I'm just getting sick of it. And now we're gonna get more soldiers. I love the way that Filoni writes for his clone troopers, and I'm sure he'll write just as well for these guys. But and he did as much in the series. My concern, it really is just that I just think we need to quit with this. I think we need to either go before the prequels or after the original. Um that's kind of where I want to go. So before Age of Republic or after Age of Rebellion, right? And before Age of Resistance, because I think that the buck really stops there with Age of Resistance, right? So those are the eras that I want to explore, and we're really not getting enough content in those um eras, and it's starting to really piss me off that we're just getting things in eras that we've explored. Mandalorian is a exception because, and I love Mandalorian because it does exactly that. It's something new, and it's after the original. It takes place after the original trilogy and before the sequel trilogy, after the Age of Rebellion and before the Age of Resistance. I'm excited for the High Republic thing that they're going to be doing with the comics and the books that are coming, the new line of those that are coming out, because it goes before the Age of Republic, and that's where I want to be. Um, don't get me wrong, it's Star Wars. I'm gonna check it out. And it's Star Wars done by Dave Filoni. I'm gonna check it out, and I could watch this thing and be blown away and go, okay, never mind. I'm so glad that this is a thing now. But I gotta say, for the most parts, I was kind of bummed about this. That this is the next thing that Dave Filoni's working on. Give him something to do. I know he's got a big hand in Mandalorian, and I'm happy about that. He's got a big hand in a lot of different pots. But this is not one of the pots that I want him to kind of stir right now. If that makes any sense, I want him to really branch out, and do some new things. And I really think Dave Filoni is um pretty much at this point like the end all be all when it comes to creative with Star Wars. But I just don't want this. Um, I was pretty bummed. This was not the next thing that I wanted to see from a Dave Filoni. I thought he could come up with something better. And like they said, like Disney Plus ordered a series, a season of this or whatever, and so he, they probably asked him if he could write something, and he was probably like, yeah, maybe I can come up with something. It'll probably be pretty good, but I'd rather let them do what I don't know if this was the thing that he wanted to do. Who knows? We'll see. I think the guy's amazing, and I think he'll create a really fantastic series again, and we'll see. I'm gonna watch it, but I was pretty bummed about this. I'm not gonna lie. So sorry to kind of rain on everybody's parade there, but because I know a lot of people are excited about this, and there's aspects of it that sound great, but I just don't think it's for me. So kind of the last story we're gonna go into here, is this Hayden Christensen news. Now, this is something that people seem to be making a massive deal about this. So let's just read this a little bit. Now I really want you guys, and this comes from comicbook.com, so it's a good source, but listen to this. Star Wars rumor. Let's keep that in mind. Rumor. There's a video here. Sorry, guys. I hope I do not get taken down because of that. If any of that audio got caught. We'll see. Okay. All right, rumor. So remember that. Star Wars rumor claims Hayden Christensen returning for Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series. A new Star Wars rumor claims that Star Wars prequel Hayden Christensen once again play Anakin Skywalker in the upcoming Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus. In fact, LRM claims that Christensen's Anakin Skywalker will be a regular in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Now, this is where the rumor gets interesting. And however, it is still a rumor. And obviously, everything is until the studio backs it. But I do like this. Be a quote-unquote regular in the Obi-Wan series after a planned cameo role expanded into something much bigger during negotiations. A former deal between Christensen and Lucasfilm is said to be done, and there's mention that this would have been a major announcement made at Star Wars Celebration 2020, with the festival now delayed until 2022 due to the coronavirus pandemic. We will reportedly get confirmation of the casting when production starts on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. There's no explanation given for how Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker will fit into the storyline of the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series, but it's not hard to theorize. A big part of the Obi-Wan series that fans expect to see is how the Jedi Master and former general used his time on Tatooine to master the technique of becoming a Force ghost, able to still communicate with the living even after the death. The metaphysical journey opened things up to all sorts of flashbacks or fantasy visions in which Anakin Skywalker makes a reappearance. Okay, so this is kind of one of the big ones that I really did want to dive into because now I want you guys to remember that they did say that was a rumor, and that's something that they've just heard from somebody who's probably not an incredibly reliable source, but I gotta say, now again, rumor. This makes a lot of sense. I buy this. Because I've been telling people forever that I actually think that the premise of the show should be, and if they don't go this route, then they're shooting themselves in the foot. Excuse me. Kind of leading up to Obi-Wan fighting Vader one last time. Now we saw in obviously episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, he fought Vader the first time, right? And then in the original trilogy, he fought Vader. But we have so many years between that time, where I feel like Obi-Wan did fight Vader again, and nobody. I mean, where else are you gonna go with this, right? That was like Obi-Wan's buddy, right? Anakin Skywalker. Wouldn't he have tried multiple times to try to turn him back to the good, to the light side? And I think that this makes sense. I know that they're saying Hayden Christensen is going to be in there in physical form, and yeah, I do think that as well. I think that we will see flashbacks and things like that, or visions and things of that nature. That's all going to be a part of that, I think. But this makes sense. I know it's a rumor, and I'm not saying that I have any sources on it or anything like that, but this does make a lot of sense. I've been saying it forever that the Vader aspect will play a huge role in this Obi-Wan series. I think that it just makes a lot of sense. And I also think Liam Neeson will be showing up in this as well as the Qui-Gon Jinn Force Ghost. It just, and people say, "What do you need an Obi-Wan series for?" I've heard that argument sometimes, and it's like, okay, number one, Ewan McGregor deserves to play this role again because he did. This is earned, if you ask me. Ewan McGregor played the role very, very well. Also, I do think there's a lot of story there. The ending of Revenge of the Sith is very telling of that, where they talk about Yoda tells Obi-Wan that Qui-Gon's found his way into a life even after death, and he had training for him, right? And it kind of leaves that in a sort of cliffhangery type of way. And I think that Obi-Wan can do that training with Qui-Gon. I think we can see that being brought to Disney Plus, and I think that that would be very interesting. And I think this is going to be very exciting. Um, and I do think he fought Vader between the time of Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. I think that there was a Vader duel, or a time where he had gone to Hayden Christensen and you know, or I'm sorry, Anakin Skywalker or Darth Vader, if you will, who Hayden Christensen will be playing. And I think that he went to him and was like, um, you know, uh, we need to turn you back to the light side. And I think that it's kind of insinuated as much in the original trilogy that maybe had happened at some point, where Vader looks at Luke and says, Obi-Wan's once thought as you did, when Luke's trying to turn Vader to the light, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that, but to me this makes a lot of sense. I think that the other thing is Hayden Christensen. I know people criticize his performance in the prequels, and it's not very good. I think that there's an improvement from Revenge of the Sith, from Attack of the Clones to Revenge of the Sith. I think you see an improvement in the performance. I really think that Christensen hunkered down and learned to act a little bit better. Um, Between the two films, if you really pay attention, he really is trying a lot harder in Revenge of the Sith. Whether that worked for you or not, that's up for debate. But I think that this makes a lot of sense. I think that Christensen wants a chance to, get back and, in this and really redeem his acting ability, or really redeem himself to the fans and say, hey, I want to give you my best performance, and I'm going to do that here, and you're going to see a much better acting role from me. Um, I think he's going to try to make it consistent if there's flashbacks with the Anakin that we saw in the Revenge of the Sith, but also perform better. They might give him some really good scenes. But anyway, yeah, Vader has to be a part of the storyline, and I think that one of the reasons they probably fired the original writer was not only because Kathleen Kennedy has an addiction to firing people, but also because they probably realized that Vader had to be in this story after not only myself, tons of people have said it online. And and I think that they were like, fan service is good if we do it right. And maybe they don't bring Vader back in the way that we think they're going to, but maybe they're like, they have a point in that sense. And maybe that the original writers for the series, and this is the reason they got fired and production got delayed. You remember this big story, I'm sure, that happened. Um, is because they were like, we want to get writers that can really work Vader into the story. And it said that Christensen was initially just supposed to be a cameo, and I'm guessing that that's the direction the original writers wanted to take, was to just bring him in for a cameo. But my guess is they've kind of come to their senses and have said, yeah, Vader's got to be a big part of the story. It only makes sense. Let's make it happen. How can we do that? And so I think that that's why they got these new writers on board, and that if that's the case, this rumor just, it makes so much sense, and I can't wait to see what's in store. I'm going to watch the Obi-Wan series anyway, and I'm going to be excited about it. You got Deborah Chow directing the whole thing. I'm sure she had a big say in what's going to happen in the story, and that she wanted Vader to be a big part of it. And yeah, let's get one really good Vader story back in, onto the screen, because um James Earl Jones is going to pass soon. I'm sure you'll get his voice, maybe. I know that there's been a lot of things said that Rogue One would be the last time he'd do the role, but I think you can get his voice, and I think you'll get Hayden Christensen back in the suit. Christensen did wear the suit in Revenge of the Sith. That's been confirmed. So it just makes a lot of sense. So anyway, guys, that is all I have today that I wanted to discuss, and I do thank you guys for joining me, and thank you for being here. We probably went longer today than usual, which is awesome. I like doing these shows a lot, and if you want me to keep continuing to do these shows, definitely hit that subscribe button below, hit the like button below. Please leave some feedback in the comment section, but make sure it's constructive criticism, and be nice to everybody in that section down there. And also, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'll be leaving that in the description below. Not don't want to jump the gun here, guys, but I may have some very exciting announcements coming up for the channel, and I'm excited to bring those to you. Hopefully we can get to those. So anyway, this has been another episode of Dom's Corner. I've been Dom Martino, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.